Production support for award-winning News 6 has come from the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation and this public television station.
Hi, we're the 6th grade class of Pleasant Elementary, home of the Cougars. Welcome to News 6.
This week on News 6, we'll visit a place where chicks see the first light of day. We'll talk to a woman who's made her way from a small-town girl to Miss Ohio. And we'll see the recent addition to the pool that makes water sports easier for the handicapped.
Hi, I'm Julia Jeffrey from Pleasant Elementary in Van Wert. Welcome to News 6. With our first story, here's Eric Mosier.
The Stoller Hatchery in Van Wert gives newborn chicks their first peek at the light of the day. Tammy Couch has the story.
Mr. Stoller allowed News 6 to see a close-up of what an egg goes through to hatch a newborn chick.
What special care has to be taken of the hatching eggs?
To start with, we have our own breeding farms, one of which is located about 3 miles from the hatchery, where the eggs are laid, the hens are kept there. Eggs are gathered every day, kept in a temperature-controlled and humidity-controlled egg room, and stored until they're brought in here. Then they're trayed up and put in the incubator.
The process for hatching the egg takes 21 days. 18 of those days are spent in this room, which we call the incubator room. In this room, the egg is merely warmed and humidified to a temperature of about 99.5 degrees and about 85 degrees on a wet bulb thermometer. This will induce the embryo to grow. However, at 18 days, we take the egg from this room to the hatching room, which is another machine similar to these, in which the chick actually goes through the hatching process.
What happens with the newborn chicks?
Okay, after the 21 days and the hatching process begins, the chicks have came out of the eggs and are dried off. They're pulled from the trays into boxes. We go through them, count them out 100 per box, and they're taken out to the grower farms or sold to the customer at that time.
Why is it important for Van Wert to have a hatchery?
The importance of the hatchery to Van Wert specifically is that it does provide a service in the food chain. And also, of course, by doing that particular process right here in this community, we do supply the needs of employees and owners alike, as far as living and so forth.
This week's News 6 is produced by the 6th grade class of Pleasant Elementary in Van Wert. Van Wert is located about 30 miles west of Lima. It was founded in 1835 and has a population of 11,035.
Sarah Evans is a hero for the people of Van Wert. She is the reigning Miss Ohio and a role model for a lot of young people.
Sarah grew up in Van Wert and even went to Pleasant Elementary as a child. She shared her experience as Miss Ohio with current Pleasant Elementary students.
How did you become Miss Ohio?
Well, once you win a local preliminary pageant, then you qualify to compete in the state pageant, just like you must win a state title to get to Miss America. And I competed for 3 years at the state level before I finally did win. This moment was just incredible for me because it was something that I had worked to achieve for 3 years, and knowing that the judges had seen in me what I had hoped that they would see was just absolutely incredible.
Describe your experience in the Miss America pageant.
It was actually very overwhelming, realizing that I was there, a contestant in the Miss America pageant. Little me from little Van Wert, Ohio, had finally made it there. It was very overwhelming. And the other 50 contestants were pretty much in the same boat, I would say. We were all very much excited and so proud to be there. And we arrived there, 51 strangers, And by the end of the 10-day period, everyone had formed friends, and it was really neat because everyone had similar backgrounds and similar interests, and we were all college-educated women, and it really was very rewarding. It really was.
What have you gained from your participation in pageants?
I'd say a lot of self-confidence. I've learned so much about dealing with people and working with people, a lot about public speaking and entertaining. And the common thing that I had last year during the Miss Ohio pageant was I was just going to be myself. And it was very relaxing knowing that it's all right to be who you are. And I get to do a lot of motivational speaking to students, both in elementary school and in high school, and I always tell them to be the best them that they can be.
What advice would you give someone interested in doing this?
I would definitely tell them to go for it because there's so many benefits. The people you get to meet, the self-confidence, the communication skills, the scholarship money. The Miss America program is the largest scholarship foundation for young women in the world. And I personally have received over $15,000 worth of scholarship money through this program. So for all of these reasons, I would definitely tell them to go for it because you never know what you're capable of until you try.
KidsView gives the kids of Northwest Ohio a chance to say what's on their minds. Here's Sean Putman with the KidsView question.
Hi, I'm Sean Putman in the halls of Pleasant Elementary School, and the KidsView question for the week is, what would you do to improve your community?
I'd build more and better stores for my community.
I would rebuild some of the older buildings.
I'd build an amusement park to improve my community.
The YWCA in Van Wert is the home of a pool with a movable bottom. It makes water sports easier for the disabled and elderly. Dan Feesby spoke with Susie Woods about the pool's many advantages.
As News 6 discovered, the pool really does make access to the water much easier for everyone who visits it. Susie, where was the pool designed?
The original concept is from Germany, and an American company out of Olean, New York brought it to the United States about 15 years ago. And we happened to be in Michigan and we saw another pool that had a movable bottom, and so we decided to do that with ours. The floor works on the same principle as a service station garage that lifts a car. There's 4 hydraulic rams under the bottom, and when you push a button on the control panel, they all move and you can raise it or lower it. It moves a foot a minute, so it's slow enough that you don't really notice it unless you're standing in it and you feel the water level go up and down, but it's fast enough that we can do it during classes. We can start at one depth and move deeper or shallower for whatever we want to do in the class, so it's very convenient. A lot of people wonder what happens to the water when the bottom comes up or down. If you think of it as actually like a box full of water with a second bottom that goes through the water. So when the water's at 2 foot, there's actually 4 feet of water underneath the bottom. It never really leaves and goes anywhere. It's just there, and the movable bottom's at a second position.
Why is having a pool like this important to Van Wert?
A pool like this in Van Wert gives a lot of people access to a pool that wouldn't have had it if we'd built another conventional pool. A lot of people can't go up and down conventional ladders because they have problems with their knees or legs, or they just don't have the body strength to do it. Children learn to swim a lot faster in this kind of pool because they're not afraid because the water's shallower. The pool's smaller, so they're not as intimidated by the size of the pool. The water's warmer, and they like that. All those things also help with any age person who's mentally disabled, and the warm water and the accessibility makes it great for anybody who's physically disabled for whatever reason, if they have MS or if they're wheelchair bound or whatever. So it serves a whole audience of people.
That's it for this week's show. Join us next week when News 6 travels to Tiffin, Ohio.
Production support for award-winning News 6 has come from the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation and this public television station.